Hey everybody, it's the Sheriff, and we're here again with another GLC review. Today we're looking at Phantasmal Flames that just came out. As always, we're going to be looking at the entire set, just at the most relevant and interesting cards, and then we will take a look at my tier list of each type in the current meta. So, let's get started. This is a not as big of a set. It is a little smaller, but there are still some pretty impactful cards, which is exciting. So we'll start in grass, and the only one I have for us to look at is actually this Genesect, which is a basic 120 HP, and its first attack for 1, you choose one of your opponent's Pokemon, and it does 20 damage for each grass energy attached to this Pokemon. So, this is essentially Raging Bolt, just for grass. Now, this is a lot weaker. It's 20 times instead of 30 times, but you can get a lot more energy on this guy because of your Meganium. So if you have 3 energy attached to Genesect, which is very easy, it actually counts as 6 energy with Meganium, and you're sniping 120 and getting even more with more energy, and you're taking out all of your opponent's support Pokemon. So I think Genesect is actually a very interesting inclusion. It gives grass this snipe ability, which is really cool. So I'm gonna give Genesect a 4. I think he is pretty good. And that is it for grass. We're gonna move on to fire, which has a couple interesting cards. Pokemon, they keep loving to print like interesting Darmanitan cards. So we're gonna look at this one. 150 HP stage 1, and for 4 colorless it does 40 damage plus 40 more for each fire energy attached to this Pokemon. So I think this guy is pretty interesting in a Charizard deck. I think you do have to play this guy with Charizard specifically, which is a little unfortunate because Charizard decks are not like the strongest right now. But I think this is interesting because even with like 3 energy attached, it counts as 6, and then this dude is doing 288 damage for 3 energy with Charizard, of course. Even if you have 2 energy with Charizard, it counts as 4, right? And you're hitting 200 for 2 energy essentially, so that is pretty cool. So I'm going to give Darmanitan a 3. I think he's pretty decent. However, I think it's just better to play this Reshiram because you're essentially doing the same amount of damage. So for fire energy, you just do a flat 240. You do 60 to yourself, which is unfortunate, but like you're probably getting one shot anyway with the current Pokemon in the game. But with Charizard, you're doing 240 for 2 energy, which is absurd. You're one-hit KOing a whale. So, Reshiram, I'm going to give a 4. You do have to play him with Charizard, though. There is a caveat. Caviar. Yep, that's the word. Moving on, we're going to also shout out Jackson for his boy Reshiram. Just saying. Alright, so moving on, there's actually nothing particularly interesting about anything in water, but that's fine. Water is quite strong as it is. There's also no Lightning Love, which is a real shame because Lightning is in a pretty weak position right now. we're going to go into Psychic, and we are going to just look at this new Zacian, where for 2 Psychic energy, it does 50 damage, but if your opponent has 3 or fewer prize cards remaining, it does 90 more. So this is essentially Mewtwo, and there are pros and cons, right? Mewtwo hits for 160 for 3 energy, which clears a lot of Stage 2 Pokemon. But Zacian hits 140 and only does it for 2 energy, and I think there is an argument to play Zacian over Mewtwo, especially in decks like with Garbodor right now, because those are popular. It's just slightly easier to power this guy up, especially with an item card that we will talk about later. Foreshadowing. So I'm going to give this Zacian a 4. I think he is quite strong for that end game and is just a little bit easier to set up for Mewtwo, and sometimes you don't need that extra damage. So there you go. I wish this Bramble Gas was good. Shout out to my boy, but he's not. Moving on to fighting. They don't need more love after last set, am I right? But I do want to talk about this Flygon, which is interesting. Stage 2, it's got this ability, Flapping Sand. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve, one of your Pokemon, if it's in the active spot and is knocked out by damage from your opponent's Pokemon, you may discard the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. So this is only during the turn it comes into play, or rather the turn after it comes into play for your opponent. And so that really sucks, and it just, I mean it's kind of annoying, but for a Stage 2, I don't think it's worth playing. Its attack is fine, it's serviceable, 130 for 2 is totally fine, but I think being on a Stage 2, it's just going to be too weak, so I'm going to give it a 2. Let's go on to Dark, which does need some love, and boy did it get, well, a little bit. Let's first talk about this Honchkrow. So, Stage 1, first attack, 30 damage, whatever. Its second attack, for 3 energy, sorry, you discard 2 energy from this Pokemon, and it does 120 Snipe, which is really cool. Now Dark has Snipe, as well as Grass. So, it's just something to really consider. This is not as hard to power up, as we will see in just 1 second. But Snipe is really, really powerful, taking out those support Pokemon. So I'm going to give Honchkrow a 3. I think he's solid. Next, we're going to look at a Crocodile right here, where Stage 2, for a single Dark, it does 60 damage, but if one of your Pokemon was knocked out, it does 160 more. So for a single energy, it's doing 220 damage, which is very, very strong, very good. That is one-hit KOing almost everything. So he is very good, but it is on a Stage 2, so that is concerning, but it is a very good revenge attack, so I'm going to give Crocodile a 3. Now we have the main boy of the set. I think this is the most impactful Pokemon from the set, is Toxtricity, which is great because I love him. So it has this ability, once during your turn you may search your deck for 1 basic Dark energy and attach it to one of your benched Dark Pokemon. If you do, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So we finally have some more Dark energy acceleration, which is huge right? So powering up Guzzlord is a lot easier. Powering up this Haunch Crow is a lot easier, right? Um, then this synergizes super well with Spiritomb and uh, the the Crawdont from last set, uh, which I'm a big fan of. So Toxtricity is an amazing support. I'm gonna give him a 5 because he's very good. It is something that Dark really needed. I don't think Dark is quite there, but I think it can actually contend at this moment. So that's going to be it for Dark to talk about. Let's talk about this new Archaludon, which is interesting. For 3 metal, you do 120, and you are immune from damage from basic Pokemon, which is cool. You are giving up the other Archaludon with the very nice ability of free retreat with anything with metal energy on it. But we are in a heavy basic Pokemon attacker meta currently, so I think this guy is quite strong. And there is also a Melmetal with the kind of the same attack, where it is also. Oh, actually, I think that is immune from Pokemon with abilities. So you could like play both of these and just pick which. I mean, both would be super annoying to go up against. So I think he's a very good thing to consider. So I'm going to give Archaludon a 4. In certain matchups, he will just like power through decks, like fighting, for example, you know? Okay, next is Ambipom that we're going to talk about for colorless. I think he's interesting. He's very good for spread. So for 3 colorless, you discard 2 energy from this Pokemon, and it does 60 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. So in a specifically a colorless spread deck, which does not usually see a whole lot of play, but it is a thing with like Iron Jugulus and like the Hisuian Braviary and maybe like a Spinda or something. This could set up a double knockout on a turn pretty easily. And with the triple acceleration energy or whatever, you just attack for 1, which is great, and you're discarding that energy anyway. So he's interesting. I'm going to give him a 4. Huge for colorless spread, but I just don't think that deck is like super strong in general, but this is a boost to that archetype specifically. And that's actually going to do it for our Pokemon. We are going to move on to trainers. Now, first we have a new stadium called Battle Coliseum. It prevents all damage counters from being placed on bench Pokemon by effects of attacks and abilities from opponent's Pokemon. This is super situational and is kind of useless in most cases, so I'm going to give it a 2, just too situational. We have a new Dawn supporter, where you search your deck for a basic Stage 1 and Stage 2, reveal them, and put them into your hand, which is I think is pretty decent. I think this is quite good in an evolution heavy deck such as Grass. I think this could be pretty strong. Not much other places it fits, but yeah, I think for Grass, I think this could be pretty good. So I'm gonna give Dawn a 3. I think it's good overall. Fire Breather is a new supporter, which is interesting. It searches your deck for up to 7 basic fire energy and put them into your hand. This is very good only if you are running it with Embor. Otherwise, this card is kind of bad. You could pair it with like Salazzle and like a Scorched Earth, where you can like have the energy to draw some cards and have energy to attach for turn and set up the next turn with like a welder or something, but I think really it's only worth playing this in something with Embor, and if you just use this with Embor, you're just set up for like, you know, the whole game potentially, which is pretty good. So Fire Breather, I'm gonna give a 4, but only if you're playing with Embor. Next we have Grimsley's Move, which is a new supporter, and this is another crazy card. Where you look at the top 7 cards of your deck and you choose a darkness Pokemon you find there and put it onto your bench. Doesn't matter if it's an evolution or a basic, you just get to put it straight onto your bench, and this is very, very strong with for Dark, because you can play some Pokemon you normally couldn't due to either evolution limitations or because of just consistency. So like now you can play the broken dark type Tyranitar, which item locks and mills your opponent at the same time, which is just absurd. You can play the Crawdaunt that I'm a fan of from the last set. You can play, you know, some other strong stage 2s like Hydreigon that normally would be difficult to play but now is easier. You just got to find ways to find them off the top, but I think Grimsley's Move is super strong. I think it is the best supporter from the set by far. I'm gonna give him a 5. I think he's you just got to play him in dark decks now. We have this new Heat Burner item where you have to discard a basic fire to use it, and you get to choose a tool, special energy, or stadium in play and discard it. So it's a situational field blower because you have to have the fire, but you can also discard a special energy this way. I would rather just play field blower and an enhanced hammer. I don't think this is worth playing. I think it's too situational. You have to get rid of an energy, which is already just super precious, I feel like, in fire. So I'm going to give Heat Burner a 2. We have this Jumbo Ice item, which I think is quite strong. You heal 80 damage from your active if they have at least 3 or more energy attached. So this is super good with like metal or water, where like your whale, you know, you can just heal 80 from it. Pair it with like a Malo and Lana, and you can just heal so much. In metal, you can pair it with, you know, all the damage negation tools and items. So I think this is a good card. I'm gonna give it a 4. It only fits in certain decks, but I think it is a strong healing item. We have a new Punk Helmet. If the dark Pokemon, it's a tool, if the dark Pokemon this tool is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack, put 4 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So it's fine. It's just another what is it? The punching tool. Essentially just another copy of that. If you really want to, it can help set up numbers with like Guzzlord or Spiritomb or even Hoopa, so that is kind of nice. So I'm gonna give it a 3. It's fine, but I think tools in dark is a little limited because of what you're already playing. So anyway, it's fine. Next we have Sacred Charm, which is another tool. The Pokemon this card is attached to takes 30 less damage from attacks from Pokemon with an ability. This is just a Pot Helmet, but situational. So you would rather just play Pot Helmet, right, in every situation. So I mean, you could play this with Pot Helmet, but you would never play this over Pot Helmet, you know? So I'm gonna give it a 2. It is situational. Just play Pot Helmet. There you go. Vertigo Valley is a new stadium where confused Pokemon don't recover from confusion when they evolve or de-evolve. This is very situational. Like, no, this is bad. Don't play this stadium. It's a 1. But then we have the Wondrous patch ending on a very strong note. It's an item where you get to attach a basic psychic energy from your discard to one of your bench psychic Pokemon. This is Aqua Patch or Dark Patch or Metal Saucer for psychic Pokemon, and they did not need more energy acceleration, but here you go, here's more. And makes Garbodor decks even stronger because you don't have to rely on those abilities to accelerate energy. So very, very strong item. It's going to be a 5. This card is nuts. Psychic didn't need it, but here it is. And that is it for the set. So my rankings, let me just get this out of the way. So my rankings are going to be fighting is actually an S now. After last set, we've seen how it performs, and it is definitely the best type right now, which is crazy how much of a boost it's gotten. But I still think that Psychic and Colorless are at the top there. Colorless, I could see coming down to A right now, but I still think it is one of the most consistent decks. So I'm gonna leave it there, and then Psychic, of course, because Psychic. I brought Lightning down to B. It was already not in a super great spot, but now with the dominance of fighting, it is just really hard to use. And then A, sticking with it, is Water, Dragon, and Grass. Just really solid types right now. Can't go wrong with them. Dark is still in B. We'll have to see what the set does for it. I don't think it will push it super far, but I think it is better. It's going to be sticking B, and then Lightning, and then Metal and Fire I think are still in B, just a little too clunky right now. And then of course Fairy at the bottom. And that is going to do it for our Phantasmal Flames GLC review. If you disagree with any of these takes, let me know in the comments. If I missed any cards that I did not talk about that you want my opinion on, also comment. If you just want to yell at me, you can also comment. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Okay, love you, bye.